Hey guys, welcome to another episode of All Bass Creations Ambient Bass Effects Mornings. So, if you haven't already, hit that like button for me. I definitely appreciate you hanging out with me on all different platforms, YouTube, Kick, Facebook, Twitch, wherever you at, hit that like button because I definitely appreciate it. And if you like this type of thing, go ahead and subscribe because we do this pretty much every day, almost. But at least we go live every day at some point. But I definitely appreciate you guys just hanging in there with this series. It's, a little abstract in nature, but you guys definitely show up and show out every time. So thank you. But all right. So that particular sound, if we break it down, it's pretty much the Hog 2 into the Mel 9. So let's switch to the pedal board view here. So let's bypass a few things. All right. So the core sound and freeze and octave. Pretty much the main sound. So even by itself the Hog 2 is a nasty piece of work. It's just amazing piece of gear even after all these years, It still has a tremendous amount of octaves and just flexibility all in one unit. And I know it is a sizable unit, it takes up quite a bit of space, but it does so much. It's a multi-effects unit, you know what I'm saying, without a digital screen pretty much. But it's still MIDI capable. A lot of these parameters, well, pretty much all the parameters in here you can control with MIDI as well. So maybe add in like the Mel 9. Compressor, ToneX 1, running a JHS Colorbox V2 tone model. So that's pretty much the bass sound of it. Well, of course the bass sound, but that's pretty much the foundation of the sound. Then from there, we're pretty much coloring it with the okay, so a couple delays and tri-chorus on the MS-70 CDR Plus. Shimmer reverb from the Plethora X1. Just a little bit of the analog flanger on the HX1 and the Atlas compressor at the end of it all. So from there, it's just pretty much what you decide to play, And also, I'm controlling the freeze with the with an external what's this thing? Not a volume, expression pedal, excuse me. And that allows me to control that time and get those gliss. Yeah, that's not the layers. That's literally all that freeze and stuff is coming from the Hog 2. The Hog 2 has an amazing freeze in glissando mode, which can be controlled with an external expression pedal. If I was to use the Limix R layers, would give you a different sound. So sustain. minimalistic choir sound. And good to see the usual suspects popping in. Appreciate y'all. You know, definitely appreciate you. I see you finally caught the morning session. I know it's not always easy, but. And that plethora X1 just giving you a nice tail on that. Yeah, I like the MXR layers as well. It's a cool pedal. It's oh, the deep freeze. The deep freeze is cool too. I love that. And that's another thing you can use on a sound like this. Even if I didn't have the Hawk 2 and the Mel 9, I can use something like a OC5. Some crazy stuff with the deep freeze as well. It seems very simplistic in nature, but it also has an attack and a decay setting, and that also plays a huge role in what it'll do for you. Shimmer on the Plethora X1, it has a very nice sound to it, you know. And I think sometimes, you know, we can overlook something like that real easy. Oh, that's so nice. Even without the you can get some very nice stuff with just the shimmer. That was just the shimmer on the Plethora X1. You know what I'm saying? So, even if you're not, even simple effects like knowing which ones you like. Now, that one versus, say, this one. And something like this and just the deep freeze together, playing bass notes, you get real creepy. Get to the film scoring territory on them. right there, that's the power of just a deep freeze and a really good shimmer reverb. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't even a lot. That's literally 2 effects. Oh, sorry about that. It's literally 2 effects: the deep freeze and the shimmer effect on the HX1. And there's also a shimmer effect on the MS-70 CDR Plus, but it's not my favorite. I prefer the one on the Plethora X1 or the HX1. And if you haven't already, hit the like button, folks. What's stopping you from hitting the like button, huh? You're sitting here, you're listening, you're kicking it. You're sitting on your couch, you're wasting your life. Say, no, I'm playing with you. I appreciate y'all. I sincerely appreciate you guys. And I don't know if y'all ever seen that what's that, the old Strayer College commercials. That's how they used to try to get us to go to Strayer University or certain colleges. You're sitting on your couch, you're doing nothing with yourself. But nah, it's definitely yeah, that sound definitely is very simplistic, but sounds very complex, and just easy to do. It's literally, this is my dry bass with the shimmer effect. Yeah, that deep freeze is over. Or even, the MXR layers can handle that as well. I definitely prefer to use the MXR layers with let me see some. I prefer to use it with a sustain pedal. Let me grab a sustain pedal real quick. So, just a standard sustain pedal you can use to control the MXR layers without touching the pedal, which is what I prefer. I will say the deep freeze has for my liking, a better auto mode than the MXR layers, for sure. I definitely love that mode on the deep freeze, while the MXR layers I prefer to control manually with a sustain pedal or something of that nature. And then I turn the trigger all the way off, and then I just see if we get a little bit of layers going here. Why this thing is turning off randomly now. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go with the other sustain pedal, unfortunately, but this is stuff you run into when you're just trying to get it done. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I think every pedal on here pretty much is worth getting. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I have them. And that's one of the beauties of this channel. You don't get pedal some stuff just because somebody sent it to somebody. You know what I'm saying? So, if you see me using it, you can tell throughout lives, like, I'm not pushing anything that ain't what I would want it to be. And a lot of times, like I said, I'm just supporting pedals and companies that I like. It's a big difference. What's going on? Appreciate all y'all chiming in. Feel free to chime in with your questions and chime in with some of your favorite reverb pedals and where y'all from and all that good stuff. Everybody check in, say hi, all that good stuff. I appreciate all y'all just spending some time with me today. And like I always say, you could be doing anything, but you're hanging out with me. So thank you. Also, if you want any of my presets, check that out on the Patreon and all that good stuff. Also, this channel now has memberships. So some of this stuff that you're seeing now, like I'm going through these how to get these different sounds, this is going to be for members only after a while. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't going, I can't give away all the game for free. I gave y'all a ton of, like, what's this, number 59? Yeah, I gave y'all 59 of them joints. I think around 60. I think around number 70, I'm gonna start only doing the members only, but give you guys some time to get in on in there. And this shimmer effect is one of the main reasons I actually kept the HX1. I just love their reverbs. The reverbs in here and the delays are fire. Like they absolutely fire. And as we found out yesterday, they got some pretty good drives on their distortion pedals and on there as well. So, you can check out that live from yesterday as well. But let's see if we can get this MXR layers up and running. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me untangle this thing. Passing on through here. We almost there, folks. Almost there. But yeah, so the MXR, I think they might have discontinued the MXR layers here. I looked it up the other day. I believe it said it's discontinued. And I'm gonna have to sit it pretty funny because it ain't gonna sit right. It ain't gonna sit right with that. All right, we in there. We in there. Yeah, there we go. Has like a different tonality than the deep freeze. And even when you have that smear in there, take out the dry. Got almost like its own sound to it in a weird way. Well, the MXR layers, unfortunately, I mean, I'm sure you can find some used, but the deep freeze definitely, trust and believe the deep. If you're going for more of like that, the string type of freeze sound, like this, you're not gonna get the MXR layers to sound like that. But it does have its own little charm there. So it just depends, I'm sure you can find one used, and it'll probably be a better deal used, you know what I'm saying? 60% of the new price, you know what I'm saying? Probably about, I think they was about 220, so probably found one for about $100. But hard part is you gotta find it. Well, all the techniques and stuff for bass, including pinch harmonics and just harmonics in general, all that stuff I am going to teach on a course on the Patreon. So if you want to actually learn bass techniques and different things I'm doing, I'm having improvisation course, all that stuff. Make sure you sign up on the Patreon, keep up, but in terms of just all I'm doing is just lightly touching the string right there, and I just know where the harmonics are, so I can. So you just over time you'll have to learn where the harmonics are. Now you talking about like false harmonics type stuff. All you're gonna do is play the note, take your thumb, use it as like right over the fret of an octave up. So that's an E flat, octave up, E flat. So you actually can pick out quite a few of them. And I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate it. I love my pedal board too. I appreciate all the love and questions as well. And trust and believe, don't sleep on that. Don't sleep on that deep freeze though. Yeah, Super Ego is like a more advanced deep freeze. So the deep freeze is just like a small part of the Super Ego. I want to actually get like what is it, a Super Ego Plus. I was thinking about that, but it's kind of sizable for, I got enough things taking up real space, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, the Hog 2 though is crazy. Hog 2 is insane. I wish they come out with a Hog 3, so we can get like the digital version, like with the digital built-in presets like they did with the Pog 3. On the Hog 3 would be crazy. With these octaves and features and they add like something like some distortion or something, so we can like make the entire synth within the joint. Like they add like, don't get me started, yo, because I can come up with mad ideas for the Hog 3. You know what I'm saying? But have you thought about getting a bridge to fit more pedals on your pedal board? Um, No, not really. I don't want to carry too much, Any gig, I don't want to be putting out. I'm already taking in one of a kind, expensive bass. And, I'm already taking, and on a single layer, this is already a few grand of pedals. You know what I'm saying? So I try not to take too much money out the house unnecessarily, just to take it out. So I don't really need anything. Plus I don't need anything more than this pedal board right here for majority of gigs. When I'm doing my solo gigs, then I take the entire thing. This is two separate boards here. So this is one board. This is a whole another board, and I have a Terra Nova. What's that? Terra Nova 42. It's the same size as these two together, and then I got a little small one down here on the floor that's holding on my MIDI stuff. So you can have a lot going on without. I'd rather have pieces of it so I can bring what I need, leave home what I don't. That's why I like even the looper is down here on the floor by itself because I don't need to take that all the time. And I don't want to mess around and lose my ideas now. I got a lot of ideas on that looper. But yeah, the MXR layers definitely has its own charm. I'm gonna take some of that schmear out, or add some in rather. Yeah, now you get nasty work with it. It's a little much for my taste. When you add that schmear, the schmear on here, you can access by holding the single button down and turning the decay knob here. Oh, see, it just gets nasty. Then you can change the delay time. Let's take some of that out. Let's keep playing with the delay time. Yeah, so the MXR layers definitely has its own sound to it. It's not a sound you're gonna use on everything or all the time, but definitely if you're into ambient music, maybe find one used. I wouldn't stress about having it brand new, you know what I'm saying? But find you one, get your hands on it. Yeah, it sounds good. But yeah, so a lot of the effects game is just experimenting with different stuff, like whether it be different freezes, because that one's going to sound different than say what we were doing on the Hog 2, over here. Let's see, let's set her back up. Bam, bam, bam. Right, totally different sound. So, yes, they all are technically freeze pedals, but they sound different. Even this freeze on the Hawk 2 sounds different than the freeze, deep freeze. Especially because it's in that auto mode, it almost works as like its own instrument. It sounds very much like its own thing. So it almost makes it like horns and strings at the same time. It's like a really mellow, like brass horn section. So I mean, And the Plethora X1 also has the infinite sustainer on it, so you can do something very similar. So you got something on there. You know, you can sustain on there as well. So if you have a Plethora X1, you have that effect. And I believe, let me check real quick. I believe I can do something similar with the loop roll effect on here. Let me see. I think it's under this category. Where is it? There it is. So let's see if we can get this thing to not like da 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 da, because that's ugly. Maybe if we add a auto swell on here, maybe we can do it. So maybe if we add an auto swell before it. Where is it? This might be with the compressors. Sorry, I'm trying to find this swell here. And it's probably with the compressors. Yep. Here we go. Slow attack. Okay. Trying to get it to do it. It's acting weird. I wanted to latch. Yeah, this is sometimes what you end up doing, like experimenting and just trying to see how you can get to different things. That's just like a reverb. I mean, a delay rather. Let me see if I bring the time down. Is it just at the very moment? I think it might just be at the very moment you press it. Let me see something. Oh, sorry. All right, so what if I make it really short? That didn't work. Ew. So I guess it's more like it'll repeat over and over again. So I guess something like that could work for certain sections, but it's not exactly the same as the freeze pedals, like the deep freeze, the MXR layers, or the infinite sustainer. I believe it might be one on the HX1 as well. I guess let me see what you guys talking about. Yeah, Kurt definitely did his thing on that Stella by Starlight on the Hog 2. You know, Yeah, I've definitely seen that video as well. He definitely did his thing. Definitely one of the best videos, like performance videos of it. It was the centerpiece of. You know what I'm saying? Definitely is a great performance. You guys should check out. Just like you guys should check out my Patreon. Make sure you go there, support the channel for $1, $5 a month, or you can come over and get the presets for all these different pedals, and you ain't gotta worry about it. You know what I'm saying? Trying to set it up, but yeah. So the freeze effects definitely have their place, and I say, even things like I said, just using them for even single note stuff. So I just turned the decay all the way down, and just a little smidge of attack on the MXR layers. Really give that ominous bass feel. Definitely appreciate you signing up for the Patreon, and and you one of the usual suspects in the house, all the usual folks that come and hang out with us on the Bass Negus channel. We got a little community of folks we starting to establish here of bass players. We come and we learn, and y'all get to ask questions live and all that good stuff. And eventually, we're going to turn this into something even bigger. Like I said, we're going to turn this into a whole educational based community. One of my goals in life is to create as many amazing musicians as possible. So, not just for myself to be an amazing musician, but I want to be able to help as many other musicians be just as great, even greater, if I can, at times. So that's like my ultimate goal with things like this. Ultimately is to make as many killer musicians as possible. So, feel free to take not my songs, not my stuff, but definitely can take my sounds for sure. Hold on one second, guys. Hello? Yeah, got the kids here doing the usual dad things. Yeah, y'all comment some of y'all favorite freeze effects and things like that. Let me see what some of y'all favorites. We got the Hog 2, we got the Deep Freeze, we got the MXR layers, got the Infinite Sustainer on the Plethora X1. And I want to try out, let me see. I want to try out this synth pedal on the HX1. Let me see if I can find it real quick. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, that's not really usable. You know, I tried. That's the attack synth on the HX1. Definitely not my favorite for sure. Definitely don't like that. But the MS-60B Plus has a nice bass synth. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this or not, but yeah, the I don't know why I'm trying to remake this when I definitely have synth basses made for the pack already. Ah, this ain't get funk too. Yep. Yeah, that's the MS-60B Plus. MS-60B Plus. Yeah, you can sleep on this joint if you want to. This joint be going hard. solo sounds. All that's in the MS-60B Plus. And this is what I don't understand, where people don't sleep on these little multi-stomps. Like they just ridiculous. So it definitely tracks well for what it is, you know. This is kind of crazy. I haven't gone through these in a while. These are, I forgot. Been sleeping. But yeah, it's not a MS-60B Plus tutorial, but at the same time, that preset pack, all those presets are already put together for you in the preset pack on the Patreon if you have the MS-60B Plus, along with all my other packs for the different pedals. So go check that stuff out, you know what I'm saying? Like, you'd be surprised with a guy in these packs, you know, I be going deep diving. Who else done showed you sounds like that with the MS-60B Plus? everybody just dismissing it as a toy because it's not an expensive pedal. But trust and believe, it is a valuable tool, especially if you're just getting into the effects game. I can't recommend any pedal more than that one. It's $120. It's going to give you compressors, EQs, amps, cabs, preamps, distortion, fuzz, all that type of thing, modulations, delay, reverbs, and it's going to give it to you. And you can split the sound to run part of it dry. So like you can have like the dry signal coming out the right side because it does. It goes in mono, comes out stereo. Have the left side effects wet, right side be dry, and now you got your wet and dry signal from that one pedal. Amazing. You know what I'm saying? And it's battery powered. It can be battery powered. It can be USB powered. Can it be USB powered? I don't know about. I don't think it can be USB powered, but I know it can be battery powered. You know what I'm saying? On there with a 2 AA's. So say you need a pedal on the go for, say you're gonna go busking or you want to play in the park. You know what I'm saying? You can just run this joint, and bam, it's good to go. And the best part about it all is it's $120. And if you're not into, say you're not super versed or experienced with effects, it will not overwhelm you with the parameters for each effect. So it's going to give you really simplistic settings. It's going to give you. Hold on one second, guys. Don't come in here about nothing that ain't. Y'all gonna get in trouble in a second. I'm working. Get out. Get out. I'm working. Yeah, so good gracious. Kids, boy. She won't let me play with the Play-Doh. Boy, you don't get out here while I'm working, boy. But that's kids for you. But yeah, something like an MS-60B Plus is gonna be a great value for you without breaking your pockets. You know what I'm saying? So if you if you only gonna have one pedal, get something that'll cover a lot. And this is 6 effects at a time. You know what I'm saying? So, and when you expand your pedal board, this can find this place anywhere, really. It can find it as a distortion. It can find it as a delay pedal. It can be all of that at once with the filters, you know what I'm saying? Now, if you want, for me, I love the MS-70 CDR Plus. You know what I'm saying? In terms of it's got really great modulations. Like I've showed you guys some of those before, but we can run a few. You got this beautiful tri-chorus, for instance. Turn on my ToneX here. First of all, give it up for ToneX for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you get the new ToneX signature bass collection, you'll actually get that amp model in there, and not necessarily that I'm gonna push theirs over mine, but if you're just buying a ToneX, please get the signature bass collection because it's gonna come with all the bass stuff, loaded in there. And then, you know what I'm saying, when you need some more, always come holler at your boy because mine are totally different, Plus, I got the combination packs coming out. Don't forget about that. That's dropping. So, but this is actually the Aguilar DB750. Oh, that joint is fire. I ain't gonna lie. That's probably my favorite in the whole pack. That joint. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put that over here. I'm gonna put that right there, and we'll put a color box. color box there. So what I'm doing now with the ToneX, I have, this is just my color box setting for when I'm doing more chordal things or using octavers. It's kind of like a general setting that just helps those type of settings cut through. Right? Then I have the color box running into James Band Shuttle 9.0, which is a two preamp. Just ToneX don't be playing with them. I'm sorry, that sounds exactly like me running this color box through that James Band Shuttle 9.0, and I would know because I made a ton of these, and I've used that combination quite a bit. It even gives you some of the dirt from the tube being pushed a little bit. Then the Aguilar DB 750. See, that tube get thick. Now, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It sounds a little thicker. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, it just a big body on that thing, yo. They really did their thing in terms of getting this ToneX to really sound good, like and sound spot on with the amp model. So that's I love it. The Aguilar do sound good on that Aguilar. Here's the color box into the Aguilar AG preamp. So yeah, you know, no matter what you're using on that with that preset you're using with that ToneX, it definitely can take your sound to the next level, and doesn't take up a whole lot of pedal board space. So I know I talk about that pedal a lot, but I really do feel like that's a great platform for amp models and designing the modeling of it. So, and when you go for something like that, you're getting unlimited amp models. You're not stuck with whatever amp models it comes with. You can always add more. You can do a little bit more. Versus if you are using something like a Zoom B6, you're stuck with the amp models, or HX1 Stomp. I mean, HX Stomp. You know, that's same thing. You're stuck with whatever they put in there. And don't forget to hit that like button, folks, wherever you at. But yeah, so I think that's all we're going to do for today, though. Like, you know, if you have any questions, additional questions about things we were covering, the freeze pedals, the MS-60B Plus, the ToneX, let me know down in the comments. Also, make sure you hit that like button and you subscribe so you know when I'm going live. And if you want, you know, check out the channel memberships as well as the Patreon memberships. And get you know, that way you can stay in the loop and you'll keep getting all the great information you're getting. So thank you guys for hanging out with me today. It means the world to me. I'll see you guys a little bit later on. This has been another episode of All Bass Creations, effects, tutorials, demos, and review, ambient bass effects mornings. So, you know, check me out on all these different pedal reviews and all that good stuff on the channel as well. So I'll check you guys out later. Thank you for hanging with me. Peace.